It's the bottom of the hour. You're back on street. We're going to quickly check in on the commodity space. But what to note now is there has been major political upheaval in Peru. They're a big producer of a lot of commodities like lithium, like copper, with supporters of ousted President Pedro Castillo clashing with police. Congress voted to remove Castillo after he tried to dissolve the legislature and call for new elections. Vice President Dina Boluarte was voted in as interim leader. But what does this mean for businesses that operate in Peru, of which there are many? Joining us now, I'm very pleased to be able to welcome Simon Clarke. He's the CEO of American Lithium, joining us live on the phone from Lima in Peru. Simon, thanks so much for making the time. I hope you are safe and well at the moment. But just in terms of this upheaval, this mess that you're seeing in Peru right now, how does it influence your business decisions right now?
Yeah, thank you very much. First off, I'm safe and well in Lima. I actually think that today was, a big day for Peru. I think there was a very big, viewpoint that Peru really did stand up and say, we don't want to go down this path that could lead to a dangerous times and circumventing the rule of law. And the political people, whatever party they were, and the Peruvian infrastructure stood up and said, we're not going to go down this road, and they rejected the move to circumvent the rule of law. So I feel safe in Lima. I think Peru very much remains open for business, and from our perspective, we're a mining company. We're looking to do business in Peru. We're obviously looking to move our projects forward, and to that extent, we have to be apolitical. But I think from our perspective, the way that Peru has reacted to this situation and reinforced that it's a democracy, it's going to adhere to the rule of law, is to my mind, very, very welcoming and very positive news.
It really is, and it is monumental. But I've got to ask you, I suppose, if you to take a look at the broader context, and we've seen, obviously, this more nationalisation of resources, more emphasis by a lot of these governments to derive more from their assets. You just have to look at what's happened in Mexico in terms of lithium, which is the industry that you are indeed in. Are you sensing a little bit of a sea change, perhaps, in Peru? Is that something that you're putting in the back or the front of your mind in terms of your projects that you are trying to build out in Peru?
Yeah, we have two very large projects. We have a large lithium project, a large uranium project, and I think Peru is distinct from the rest of South America because it has a mining code that is protected under the Constitution. Under the Constitution, you cannot nationalize mining. So the only way that in a Peruvian context, mining or lithium could be nationalized is if they were to change the Constitution, which is extremely unlikely to happen in the context of a Congress that is very center-right. So I think, that is a major distinction for Peru. I also believe fundamentally that, the Peruvian government does recognize the importance of mining to the Peruvian economy, and we'll look to protect that. And everything I've seen from the new government is that they're very much in favor of mining, of attracting overseas investment. And again, the Constitution does protect mining. So, but by no means are we complacent. But I think in terms of mining in Peru, we feel that we're in a good position. As I mentioned, we are apolitical. We will work with whatever government is in power, but I think the overall sense that I have from today's events is that Peru is very, very forceful that it is a democracy. It's going to abide by the rule of law, and it's going to drive forward on that basis.
Right. Simon, I do want to get a sense on the overall landscape of lithium as far as lithium production is concerned, because obviously, a lot of analysts have been talking about there being a shortage of supply because demand is going to come back in such a big way down the road that, you're going to be looking at perhaps spending more on mining activities and investing more in mining activities. How do you see that demand-supply situation going into 2023 from your perspective and given the geopolitical risks that you're now facing?
Yeah, I look at lithium. Lithium is a relatively abundant commodity, but it's extremely hard to extract. It's hard to process. We see that with the brine operations, the hard rock operations, and I think in Peru we have a hard rock project that is definitely has the potential to be a world leader. So, it's hard to see in the short term where the balance in supply and demand is going to come. But I do believe that there are projects like ours in Peru that can have a meaningful impact in that and help us get towards the goal, that we need to do to get to zero emissions by 2050 and some of the shorter term objectives in 2030. So it's not that there isn't the potential out there. It's that it's difficult to bring on mines. It's difficult to bring on lithium production that can be commercially viable. And from our perspective in Peru, we certainly believe that we have one of the projects that can make a major difference on that front.
Also, how are you watching the China situation and, how much lithium supply globally can come from China, given their own problems that they're facing on the COVID front, whether that would restrict mining activities or they would still be able to double down efforts as they kind of make their way through the reopen?
Yeah, like I've said before, I think you have to commend China for the work they've done at understanding the lithium-ion technology, understanding where the commodity is, how to take lithium, how to make it battery grade, how to put it into lithium-ion batteries. They've done a first-class job. My view is that I think, if you like, here in the West, I do think it's important that we develop domestic supplies of lithium, and I don't mean domestic just in the sense of within North America. I think we have to look within the broader complex of countries that are going to supply that Western supply chain, be that Australia or other countries like Peru where there are major assets. And, there is no doubt that today China dominates. They've done an extremely good job of understanding lithium from production to extraction to producing lithium-ion batteries and beyond. So I certainly commend what they've done, but I do think that obviously it makes sense for us, in the West and the Western supply chains, if you like, that we focus on areas where we can really bring on meaningful supply. And I think that's why, for us in a Peruvian context, Valchani, which is our premier lithium asset, is so important because it has the potential to be one of the biggest lithium mines globally and can make a real difference to that. So I think, I think you're definitely going to see this situation where China continues to dominate, but I think finally Western governments and the U.S. government with the Inflation Reduction Act have started to recognize the need to try and develop this domestic source.
Simon, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much. Keep safe, and we hope things settle soon in the region.